but my sister will never get that chance. She would have been 24 this May. Her name is Helly J.
Emotional, tear-filled testimony from family and friends of 20-year-old Helly J. O'Regan, a barbershop employee who was stabbed to death nearly 4 years ago.
Her family and a survivor of the attack spoke directly to Damen Campbell, who took a plea deal in the case, getting a 42-year sentence. Garrett Berger tells us what they had to say.
If you remembered it all, it will be for what you've done to your victims and their families, and nothing more. Because you're a murderer, and that's the full sum of your parts of your life.
Damen Campbell remained expressionless as Helly J. O'Regan's mother, sister, and father told him to his face of the hole he ripped into their lives.
When your time comes, you will be cast into the same empty void that you have created from my sister's death. Your soul is forfeit, and you will never deserve to know peace, so may peace never come to you.
Campbell entered Diesel Barbershop on Bandera Road in May 2020, attempting to book a future appointment. According to an arrest affidavit, Campbell said he had to get a credit card, but came back with a backpack, knife, and gun. 2 employees made it out alive, but O'Regan did not.
The last thing I think of every night and the first thing I think of every morning is what our Helly went through on the day you decided to do this.
One of the survivors, who was also stabbed in the attack, was there to say her piece to Campbell's face.
But no amount of time will make the horrible memories go away. No amount of time will bring her back.
Campbell's lawyer said they had been planning for an insanity defense. And though he says the doctor in a court-ordered evaluation didn't find Campbell met that definition, the attorney said they would have debated that at trial. But ultimately, Campbell agreed to a deal and pleaded guilty.
Campbell will serve time for the murder and 2 assaults at the same time. But he'll be eligible for parole halfway through, though the judge did give him credit for time he's already spent at the jail.
You have taken from her. Her own life, you have taken from her. By doing so, you have sacrificed your place in this world, and your time in it is over.
Garrett Berger, Ksat 12 News.
Staying at the courthouse, it took a jury less than an hour to find a man guilty of torturing and killing a 5-year-old girl. Jose Ruiz, convicted of beating 5-year-old Mercedes Lozoya to death back in 2022. No reaction from Ruiz as those verdicts were read. Lozoya died after suffering from extensive physical abuse and torture for more than 2 weeks. After the verdict was read, the punishment phase began. We got to hear from Mercedes' great-grandmother, who now has adopted her older sister. She told the jury just how that older sister has been coping with Mercedes' death.
A lot of fears, not trusting to be around men by herself. She couldn't sleep.
The jury not done yet. They'll be deliberating soon on sentencing. They'll decide on how long Ruiz will actually be in prison. He's facing up to life. Stay with Ksat 12. We're live streaming that trial right now.
Tonight, the U.S. Supreme Court has issued an indefinite pause to a controversial Texas immigration law. The law, also known as SB 4, would allow law enforcement in the state to arrest people suspected of entering the country illegally. According to the Supreme Court documents, the pause will stay in place while the court considers emergency appeals from the Biden administration, as well as other groups challenging the law.
Tonight, San Antonio police investigating after a man in his 30s shot during what officers are calling a domestic dispute. The shooting happened in the 15,000 block of Vigil View about 8 this morning. You can see that's not far from Judson and Nacogdoches roads on the northeast side. According to SAPD, a man who was involved in some sort of argument with a woman he was in a relationship with. At some point, a younger man who also lived at the home intervened in the argument. Officers say that's when there was a struggle between the 2 men for a gun and it went off. The older man who was in the argument with the woman shot. He was taken to a nearby hospital. He's expected to recover, but police say he's the one who first pulled the gun. Investigators are calling him a suspect in all this. Still unclear exactly what charges are expected to be filed.
I was just isolating myself, and I just was way more irritable than I usually am.
First, it was the Surgeon General's advisory warning about social media's impact on kids. Then lawsuits against social media companies about kids' mental health decline. And now there's evidence from medical studies on its detrimental effects. Well, Bexar County and the state of Texas decided enough is enough, and they created a new program to teach kids about what's happening to them. A local teenager thinks it might work.
15
17-year-old Evelyn Freer's mental health started to spiral during the pandemic when the whole world was contained to her screen.
I was just like so isolated from just like talking to people other than my family. Like I didn't have any friends during the pandemic. The feeling like you're not pretty enough for social media.
She withdrew, felt depressed, unworthy, and eventually suicidal. Evelyn told some friends who thought she was joking. So even though it was hard, she told her mom, Deborah Bailly.
She let me know about the cutting. She had, been kind of hiding it. And her personality was completely different by that time.
She immediately got Evelyn help that saved her life. Now they both want to break mental health stigma by supporting initiatives like the new Ksat program, which stands for Community Health Awareness in Adolescents and Teens. It was created by Bexar County's Center for Healthcare Services, which is connected to the state of Texas.
We've got a series of 4 presentations right now on online gaming, online grooming, the positives and negatives of social media use, and sleep hygiene.
CHCS Children's Clinical Director Dolores Haynes wants kids to think twice.
Am I playing with another kid or am I playing with an adult? And this person may be making friend requests, and even if you delete a post online, it's not really gone.
The program helps parents set boundaries and encourages both adults and kids to look for signs that someone's in crisis.
When your friend tells you that they are having suicidal thoughts, you need to take it seriously and you need to ask them if they are okay.
Evelyn has already helped others.
They told me that they were struggling and they needed help, so I told somebody because they needed that.
Very brave of her to share that story with us. If you are interested in the Ksat program, you can make a request to CHCS to bring it to your school, your church, youth group, or even just your family and friends. We have all of that contact information on ksat.com. Just look for this story.
Can we give some recognition to Evelyn and her mother? Because Evelyn not only accepted the help, which saved her life, now she's talking about it, which probably is going to save other lives. So,
she's 15.
15, that's what I mean. Stepping out, hey, I'm going to help others. This is what it looks like.
It's incredible. Yeah. So
thank you, Evelyn.
Kudos to her.
Absolutely. All right, talking about stepping out, a little gray outside. And it seems like there's like a constant threat of rain we've been under for these last few days.
Just waiting for it to happen.
Well, and that's the deceiving part of these clouds is it's going to look like it could rain at any moment the next couple of days, but we're not going to get anything more than a sprinkle or two. And temperatures are being held below average. 55 this morning, 65 for the high temperature this afternoon, and tomorrow afternoon is going to be even a little bit cooler than what we had today. Right now we're at 63, dew point of 39 with that northeasterly wind at 12. Dry air is in place. Now tomorrow morning we'll wake up to readings in the low to mid 40s, so have the sweatshirt or jacket ready to go at the bus stop in the morning, and then we don't warm up all that much by the afternoon. We'll talk about our temperature trend, when it's going to feel more spring-like, and this one shot at rain in the middle of the week coming up.
Thank you, Adam. All right, let's check out traffic right now. I want to show you a trouble spot at 37 and Hackberry. You can see as it heads towards, I'm guessing that's I-10. It looks like the I-10 and 90 exit. That seems to be where this accident is taking place. I don't know if it's a stalled vehicle or a fender bender, but tow trucks are there along with SAPD and one of the Hero vehicles. They've got it down to a couple of lanes, so at least one lane is shut down, but you can see it's a mess because that's right where an on-ramp and an exit ramp come together, I-37 at Hackberry. By the way, downtown San Antonio will be a little more tricky to navigate. There's a couple of big road closures that started today. They're expected to last several weeks. One of them is going to last a year. RJ Marquez with a look at the areas to avoid.
Well, we have a couple of big projects starting in downtown San Antonio that are going to be running through the entire spring and even to the early part of this summer. So let's start here near Hemisphere because we have a big change here for South Alamo traffic. South Alamo traffic will now be directed to just southbound traffic on South Alamo in front of Hemisphere and in front of the Convention Center. So you will not be able to go northbound on South Alamo. What you will have to do is traffic will be detoured on Cesar Chavez all the way up to South Presa Street or also up to St. Mary Street to Navarro Street to get back onto Market Street and then cut back down on South Alamo. So that's the first one that we're keeping an eye on. The other big sort of downtown project that we need to let you know about is that Santa Rosa Street will be shut down all the way from Cesar Chavez to Dolorosa Street. So basically, if you're coming on Cesar Chavez and you want to get onto Santa Rosa Street, you're not going to be able to. This will be in both directions. You have to come around here, go up Urban Loop all the way to San Saba Street, and then come all the way back around on Dolorosa, and then you can get on the two-way traffic traffic by South Florida Street. So again, this project going to be taking place here for the next couple of months. Same situation there with the South Alamo one-way traffic project, as well as they continue all that construction in the downtown area. We have more information on both of these changes on ksat.com. Have a good one, everybody.
All right, now to some chaos over spring break. One person dead and several others hurt in 3 separate shootings in Jacksonville, Florida. All of them happened during spring break and St. Patrick's Day celebrations. The first incident, police say they were trying to break up a gathering of hundreds of teens under a pier. That's when fighting broke out and 2 young men shot each other and a bystander. They were seriously hurt but are expected to be okay. Not long after, a man in a ski mask ran past a bar and fired a shot. Thankfully, no one hurt there. But then shots were fired during an argument between 3 men. A 21-year-old man was killed in that incident.
People come to the city to enjoy themselves. They live here, they visit here, and quite frankly, I'm pissed off.
Yeah, as of this morning, no shooting suspects have been arrested.
It started with 1 school closure, then 20, then 30, then finally all campuses being shut down temporarily. Records obtained by Ksat Investigate show why the San Antonio Independent School District had such a difficult time keeping their classrooms warm during January's cold snap. Ksat first told by the district that it would cost $2,300 to get these internal communications. We were forced to narrow our request, raising questions about transparency at SAISD. We aren't the only ones with those questions either.
Overall, we just don't feel like they're really viewing us as a one-to-one partner and the owners of the schools.
In just a few minutes, SAISD's reasoning for why they couldn't keep their school buildings warm, plus what some district employees had to say about the conditions on campus.
All right, coming up after the break, a local nonprofit getting a 7-figure donation today. What the organization plans to use it for.
Plus, the New Braunfels Police Department adding this new vehicle to the force. How it will keep the community safe during disasters.
And taking a quick look outside with live cam, it was obviously a cooler start to the week, and it looks like those temperatures are going to stay that way. Meteorologist Adam Caskey tells us if that accompanies any rain chances. Next.